Welcome to the Bell Cow Author Roundup podcast, where we celebrate Minnesota's incredible fiction authors and the stories that make our literary scene so vibrant. I'm Rob Jung.
And I'm Michael MacBride. Together, we're the team behind Bell Cow Productions and the Bell Cow Catalog, a digital catalog designed to connect Minnesota authors with readers, libraries, and indie bookstores.
The catalog will be heading to all 377 Minnesota libraries, 80 plus indie bookstores, plus those in border cities such as Sioux Falls, Fargo, Superior, and La Crosse.
And now with this podcast, we get to bring those amazing voices to life. Every episode features one of our herd members talking about their books, their writing journey, and the stories behind the stories.
And before we start, let us apologize for all the cow-related puns you're about to hear.
All right, let's dig in.
Today, we are thrilled to welcome Judy Kerr to the Bell Cow podcast. Judy, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to see you guys. Nice to be here.
Thanks for being part of our roundup, as well as our catalog member as well. So,
and you're also part of the herd. We are full of puns related to cows and such. So give us a little background. Tell us about yourself, and let our listeners and viewers know how Judy Kerr got to where she is today.
Okay, sure.
That's enough. Time's up.
Yep, exactly. I've been retired for almost 9 years now, after 38 years with the Postal Service. And I needed something to keep myself busy in retirement. And I loved reading, and my partner encouraged me to write because I kind of had a little fascination with that. I took some classes at the Loft. The best class I took at the Loft was with Ellen Hart. Anybody who's a Minnesota writer knows Ellen Hart. Her mystery writing class was phenomenal. So I took that in like 2008 or 9, I think. And the rest is history. I just kept at it. And my first book came out in 2019. And my series features a woman U.S. Postal Inspector as the protagonist. And I wanted a unique character. We read so much crime fiction where there's a FBI agent or a police officer or a sheriff, and I wanted something unique. And I knew a lot of inspectors when I was working for the Postal Service. Unfortunately, none of them would be a resource for me. I had to go on the interwebs and find a retired inspector down in Austin, Texas, who agreed to be a resource for me. And he's been great, as has the Public Information Office in Washington, D.C. For the inspection service. So they're very tight with their information as far as investigation procedures and stuff, but they've answered a lot of questions for me, which has helped, I hope, make my books a better product for the readers. So
cool. That's interesting. I that's not a position that I knew about. I mean, I guess I should have, because I studied like a lot of the mail censorship stuff that happened in like the 20s to 80s. And that must have involved postal inspectors, I suppose.
Oh,
and
yes.
I know, like, as a deeply curious person, when I go to the post office and they ask me things, I'm like, well, what if I did say that there was liquid or flammable or hazardous chemicals? What would happen?
They would hand it back to you and say, sorry, we can't mail it for you.
Well, what they said was sometimes those just have to go ground. They can't go in the plane. So we need to know one way or another. But I was like, I always wondered about those things. So
yeah.
Well, I have, excuse me, I have only two immediate thoughts. And number one, Judy, you don't look old enough to have been retired for that long. And number two, Michael, this is for you. Did you notice a decrease in the efficiency of the post office about 9 years ago? I did. I think
I have. Yeah, it's remarkable.
You guys are
Judy, Judy, I think you should go back to work.
No, absolutely not. No.
Okay.
They're fine without me.
So out of curiosity, what drew you to the postal inspector? I mean, I know you're saying you're looking for a unique perspective, but what about that specifically called to you?
Well, like I said, I knew many inspectors in my 38-year career, and it's just there's kind of an aloofness around them, I think. And in the general public eye, I think a lot of people don't even realize that the inspection service is federal law enforcement. Like they carry guns and badges, they have the ability to arrest, they uphold 200 federal statutes that with the nexus of the US mail. Um, and they actually are the oldest federal law enforcement agency in our country. And so I think they don't get maybe a lot of recognition and definitely don't get the recognition that they deserve in my mind. And so I thought, I love crime fiction. I love true crime. And when I decided to write, I knew I wanted to write crime fiction. So I wanted that, from a law enforcement perspective, I wanted that unique character. And I think the inspection service works well for that.
Well, tell
Definitely.
us about MC McCall.
MC McCall is, oh, she's probably 50-ish. She's been an inspector for a lot of years. She could retire soon. She's not going to retire. Inspectors have to, I think they have to retire by age 57. And they can retire if they have 20 years and they're 50, I think is the rule. But they have to retire by 57. Um, she lost both of her parents when she was in college to a drunk driver. They were coming back from their cabin up in Two Harbors area and were hit head on and killed by a drunk driver. She's been in a relationship, and this would be in book one. She'd been in a relationship for nearly 20 years with her partner Barb, who was a second grade school teacher. Um, and something tragic happens in book one with Barb and sends MC spiraling. And alcohol is what she turns to kind of get through her day. And it just progressively gets worse through book one and book two. Um, book three, she is finally coming out of that spiral a little bit. But she loves her job. She has integrity. She's dedicated to the work. Um, she's an honest person, but she's also very stubborn. Um, loves her friends, Dara and Meg, who own Flannel, the coffee shop in St. Paul. Um, and as much as she loves them, her friend Dara drives her crazy, trying to help her get through her addiction issue. So it's a love-hate thing going there for a little bit, I think, between the two friends. But yeah.
So how much of MC is autobiographical?
None.
She's actually retired. This wouldn't work. She said MC wasn't going to retire.
Oh, okay, all right, you're right.
No, I don't know. I don't really see any of myself in her. I think when I developed the character, some writers, when we write, we start out with a plot and then build characters around that plot. I started out with the character. I knew I wanted this character. And I think I built her from observing some of the inspectors I knew, but also how I wanted her to come across. Um, maybe stronger in some respects and not in others. And I wanted this character to be a certain way. And so I didn't base it on any one person that I know. Definitely didn't base it on myself. Um, but yeah, she's been fun to work with.
So that brings the question of the plotter or pantser So
Oh,
you have the
totally.
character in your mind. So
Yep.
then you can be a pantser, I suppose, because you're going where she goes, I suppose,
I
right?
am
Okay.
totally a pantser. I am a pantser. And it's interesting because I have a really good friend, Jesse Chandler, Bob. Oh, you know her too, right, Michael?
Yeah.
Anyway, she's the opposite. She has to have an outline when she writes. And right now, the two of us are co-writing a book together. So check
This,
in a couple months and ask how that's going because yeah,
so
a pantser and a plotter work on the same project together. That could be
yeah,
a book in itself.
yeah, how does that work? How do you actually try to make that? How does that function?
Well, I'll tell you, the book that we're working on together, we started back in 2022, and it's gotten so complex as far as we have multiple points of view. There are different plot lines. And so there's an editor that we know who said, listen, you guys need to sit down and plot this out because you have so many things going that there's no way that, you're going to be able to keep track of everything. And as much as I'm just like, if I have to have an outline, I'm not going to be able to write. I'll have a block. I'll have writer's block. I was just so convinced of that. But yeah, after this editor talked to us, I'm like, well, that does make sense. And as we've been working, I'd say we're probably about midway through the manuscript right now. And even though we have this outline, this scene outline for the whole book, it's it's getting more and more complex and it's taking more out of us. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is really like work. So I'm glad that we did, that I finally broke down and said, yes, we better do an outline because yeah, I'd be spinning my wheels big time with this book. But
I
with
I
MC, I don't outline with MC.
I love collaborative writing, and it's fascinating to me, like the different approaches that it takes on. One of the people I wrote with for a time, we would get together and talk about what the story was going to be. So like big picture, and I would kind of take notes, and it was kind of pantsing live,
Mhm.
right? Like just improving, throwing ideas together, and then I would go back and I would essentially write the whole thing, and then I would give it to her because I shouldn't say I'm terrible. I dislike description. I like dialogue and action. And she likes description and detail. So, like, I did essentially the skeletal pass on it. And then I gave it to her, and she had full rights to change anything she wanted, modified.
Right,
But she essentially, added all the color to it. So,
right.
but
Yeah, and
everybody works different. So,
that's an interesting way of doing it. Yeah, that makes sense. What Jesse and I are doing is we each there are two protagonists in our book, and we each have one. But then there are other points of view characters that come in and out throughout the book, and so we each take, as long as there's an even number of them, we've each been able to have the same amount of writing to do. But what we'll do is we'll write, say it's Jesse's character, she writes whatever the scene is. We're calling them scenes. I mean, they could be chapters by the time we're done, right? And then when she finishes, she sends it to me, and then we just go back and forth on that one until we both agree on it. And then we put it in a document and say, okay, so now on to the next scene and say, that's my character. And I do, and then I send it to her. So that's how we've been doing it. It's been working pretty well.
cool.
Yeah.
Back to MC again.
Yes.
You recall you've written three books: Black Friday, Silent Service, and Postmarked Castle Cove. Um, have you got an excerpt of any of the three that you'd like to read for us and our listeners and viewers?
Well, sure. I could read just the beginning from Postmarked Castle Cove if you
Okay,
would like for me to do that.
that would be awesome.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I think just reading a little bit from the beginning of book three isn't going to ruin book one or two for anybody that hasn't read them. I like to say that they can be read as standalones. When people ask me that at events, I say, sure, you could read them as standalones, but if you want the full flavor of the character development with MC, I recommend reading in order, obviously, because each book she progresses, I'm hoping. Anyway, so this will be from chapter 1 of Postmarked Castle Cove. May Day was International Workers' Day. In MC McCall's life, May Day, May Day, May Day was more fitting because she was in a continual underlying state of distress. Sobriety should have given her clarity. Instead, on the morning of what might rank in the top 5 worst days of her life, Postal Inspector MC McCall sat in her car in a parking lot. The clinic in front of her, near the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, was a 2-story tan smudge against the backdrop of the spring morning. The building set MC's nerves on edge. Was she about to face the death knell of a storied career? Should she shut off the engine and go inside? Stay? Go? Great. Now she'd have an earworm of the Clash's hit song. Snap out of it, McCall. What if the U.S. Postal Inspection Service designated doctor didn't clear her for return to duty? Did she want a chance hearing negative news? Face a possible death sentence? She drummed her fingers on the steering wheel of the Subaru her murdered life partner Barb had driven, contemplating the nondescript tan brick structure bathed in deceptively happy May sunshine. The interior of the car came to life, closing in around her, the air thick and pulsating with strands of sunshine, pinned her in the driver's seat, as if holding her hostage. She closed her eyes, counted to 10, and opened them. No pulsation. The air thinned. Warm, bright rays enveloped her. She felt like an extra from a Twilight Zone episode. Sun sparked off the windshield, revealing a film of road grime. Well, time to wash the car. She could leave now and reschedule the doctor's appointment. Evasion was not the better part of valor, she reasoned. Did she care? No. Yes. Maybe. She swiveled the rearview mirror so she could see herself. One of the first things she'd done after finishing rehab to prep for returning to the job was to get a haircut. Her spiky dews showed more salt than pepper. Age, stress, maybe both. More wrinkles lined her forehead and around her eyes. And those eyes, the vibrant blue Barb had always said were a beacon of light, were now as washed out as a hot August sky. A reflection of her life, lackluster, dull. She had become the opposite of pre-sober MC. She considered whether the weekly AA meetings were beneficial. The LGBTQ plus specific group made her feel only slightly less ambivalent. The proclamation of one of the attendees at her first meeting had stuck with her. Cover your ass and don't worry about saving face. She couldn't pinpoint why that sentiment had embedded in her brain. Well, you aren't into the serenity prayer, so at least you had one takeaway. Perhaps illogically, Barb's voice tethered MC to the here and now in times of turmoil and indecision. More than 6 months had passed since Barb had been murdered, and MC still heard her. But right now, she needed to decide. Where was a magic 8-ball when she needed one? Easier to leave decision-making to chance. Chances were strong she'd pass the exam with flying colors. Then she could hit up the 5-8 club for a celebratory burger and beer. A beer, nothing harder, totally doable. Not like she'd be hitting the hard stuff. The goose had taken flight out of her life, hadn't it? But she'd deserve a little pick-me-up to get her through the day and ready to face returning to the job on whatever date the good doc prescribed.
Wow. That's really good.
Well, thank you.
Of course, I knew that because I've already read that once. The emotion of MC in that first scene comes out so clearly. I mean, in the struggle she's going through mentally, it's
Yeah.
is is great, well done. So nice
Oh,
job.
thank you. You know, it's interesting because one of our dear friends who read the third book, we were up at their place for an evening just visiting, and she says, Judy, I need to ask you a personal question. And her partner goes, careful there, what are you gonna ask? You know, and I go, It's fine. I said, go ahead. And so she said, I just really want to know, are you a recovering alcoholic? I said, no, I am not. But I did plenty of research to learn about that. Plus, I had a grandfather who was an alcoholic when I was growing up as a kid, so I had some idea. But we have really good friends that are both in recovery and have been sober for 30 plus years. So I use them as a resource. You know, I read up on stuff. I want to, when I write, I want to be as authentic as I possibly can. Um, and so, yeah, that when she asked me that, I'm like, well, I must have, I must have done it right.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's funny the things that you the rabbit holes you go down to chase authenticity, like you said. I mean, for
Yep,
me it's often my curiosity drives me and then those things end up in stories because they're interesting and they're true and real. So I guess
absolutely.
we can start the lightning rapid fire round, whatever, and maybe we'll just start with what is the most random thing you've done for research?
Oh my gosh. What is the most random thing? I went up to Two Harbors uh, and walked into the law enforcement center and asked if I could have a tour, and the sheriff allowed it.
Nice.
So
Good.
Did you say I'm a writer and I'm doing research, or
I
did you just
did.
ask? Okay, I wasn't sure
I
because if you
did.
just came in and asked cold, they might look at you strange. So
I did. I did. You know, I asked about when, and my partner was with me. We were out, we were up on the North Shore for, just like a mini vacation kind of thing. But I said, I'm gonna ask if I can do this, and I walk in and I ask about tours, and the person's like, and then I decide, well, okay, I'm gonna explain. I'm a writer. I'm trying to do research. I want to just make sure. So yeah, I was able to get a tour.
They probably thought you were trying to break in.
Yeah, for sure. Next thing you know, I'm going out the front door and going back in through the Sally port, right?
Yeah, yeah. There you go. So, do you have any must-buy writers that when they put out a book, you don't care what it says, you're just going to buy it and read it and put it on your shelf?
Um, absolutely. My friends for sure, Jesse, Mary Beth. But other than for personal friends reasons, I like their writing. Outside of them, Stephen King, for sure. He's like my favorite. I also enjoy Karen Slaughter. She's a thriller writer from Georgia.
Yep.
She is phenomenal. And hey, for a crime writer, what better name? Karen
Karen
Slaughter.
Slaughter.
right.
Yeah,
Come
I mean,
on.
perfect.
And
Dang it.
I was gonna say Stephen King quotes are all over your webpage as well. I noticed that.
Yep.
That was awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, who's your all-time favorite detective? Fictional detective.
My all-time favorite
Fictional
fictional
detective.
detective.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. Cagney and Lacey's kind of.
Huh?
I'm showing
Oh,
my age
like,
there. Yeah. No, I like a lot of detectives. And I use Columbo in book three um a little bit for Inspector Jim Bob O'Malley. That's his like favorite TV detective. So but no, I mean I like any detective, um a lot of the contemporary series stuff that comes out. I just love that stuff.
Cool.
okay,
You
cool.
mentioned Two Harbors. What are some other favorite spots in Minnesota if you were to choose one? Something off the beaten path.
Whoa, off the beaten path, man. Well, I don't have a whole lot of experience spending time in locations other than the Twin Cities here and um, up along the North Shore, because Duluth and the North Shore has been a really big favorite part of my life, from little on. But I am going to branch out, probably for book 4 research, to Kimball, Minnesota, which is near St. Cloud. So I'll get to know that area a little better than I have in the past.
Cool.
Judy, I think we got to get you to spread your wings a little farther than Kimball, Minnesota.
Really?
I mean, maybe all the way to Black Duck or
Really?
something.
What's going on in Black Duck? Something I need to know?
That probably some sort of postal mess.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's going on at
Yeah.
that post office?
So what's your favorite place to write?
I actually like writing at home right here at my desk because I have such great space here. But Jesse and I work at Caribou. That's where we meet, and that's where I was all day today with Jesse. So yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a really highly caffeinated book.
It
I
is
can-
indeed.
I can see it now.
Yep.
So
Coffee aside, is there a particular dish that you are known for cooking? Or something you enjoy cooking, whether you're known for it
Me?
or not?
Oh gosh. I am like the last person you want cooking. But I do make a pretty mean chili in the crock pot, and it's almost that time of year. So
yes, it is. It's getting there for
It
sure.
was always a holiday or a Halloween tradition at my family. It was a big chili crock pot.
Yeah.
And the kids come in and out when they need a break for sure. So
nice. Yeah, chili is awesome in the fall.
Okay, last lightning round bullet question. Alive or dead, who would you want to spend an afternoon with?
Stephen King. I'm sorry, Stephen King. Come on. Definitely.
I'd be terrified, but
No way. I would love to sit and talk with him. Oh my God.
I can't remember what the event was for, but it didn't. It killed me that I wasn't able to go to it. He was in town. It was something associated with the Loft, and his band
Yep.
played. What were they? The Losers? I can't remember what their name was, but they actually played in town and everything.
Rock
Oh.
bottom something. Rock
Yeah.
bottom.
yes.
I
Yep.
can't remember. Yeah. I didn't get to that event either. I remember when, yeah.
I was at the event. I wasn't at the musical thing, but I was. It was the first big Loft book.
What do they call it? Like wordplay or something?
That's it. You got
Yes,
it. Wordplay.
thank you.
Yeah, it was the first
Yeah.
wordplay, and I actually got to shake hands with Stephen King. And
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah.
Get out.
It's okay. I haven't watched it since. So,
But you know who I did get to shake hands with?
Who?
That I was just like, I'm still starstruck. 2022 when BoucherCon was in Minneapolis.
yeah.
I was part of I was helping, one of the people helping Devin run the bookstore at the con. And so we all got to go on the night before it started to this dinner, and Yo Nesbo was
Oh,
at
wow.
that dinner, and I have a picture of me with Yo Nesbo sat at the same table.
Wow.
It's my claim to
I mean,
fame.
I'm impressed. So
Well, I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, where can people find you? What's your webpage, or where should they buy your books? Do you have a favorite store in town that you sell them at?
Absolute. Oh, come on. We all have to
I mean,
plug
I
it.
know the
Once
answer,
upon a
but, like-
crime, once upon a crime, nowhere else to buy books but there. No, definitely. Devin carries my books at Once Upon a Crime. My website, www.judymkerr.com. I try to keep all my events updated on there and other things that happen, like posting my Marianne Grossman review in the Pioneer Press.
yay.
It's like the holy grail for Minnesota authors, isn't it?
Well, it's all she's our
I'm
best friend.
still shocked. I'm still shocked.
Michael, we need to get her on our podcast sometime.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
yes.
thinking when,
Yeah.
well, I mean, spoiler, we had talked about maybe doing a panel of some kind, and I think it would make a lot of sense to have her be part of it. So that'd be great.
Yes,
Uh,
for sure.
That would
She
be
is
good.
such an icon,
Yeah.
such an icon, and so supportive of local authors.
Yep.
She's the best.
Judy,
Well,
thanks. Been great to have a chance to chat.
thank you guys. It's been
Good
fun.
luck. Good luck going forward. We never did find out what your next book is.
oh, that's true.
In the series?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a book 4. I don't have a working title yet.
Okay.
But research is
It's
happening in
taking her to
between.
Kimball. So
Yes,
Okay.
Kimball, Minnesota. Yep,
Nimble,
you know that much.
Nimble Kimball.
Nimble
Okay.
Kimball.
Nimble Kimball. All right.
we'll be sure to include the links and things in all the comments and descriptions and stuff like that, so people can find your books at Once Upon a Crime and your webpage as well. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really
Thank you,
appreciate it. It was great
guys.
chatting with you.
It
Okay.
was great.
Yep.
Bye, Judy.
Bye.
And don't forget, you can see this book and more from Minnesota authors in the Bell Cow catalog, heading to libraries and indie bookstores across Minnesota and beyond.
Thanks for tuning in to the Bell Cow Author Roundup podcast. We'll be back next Tuesday with another amazing Minnesota author.